Let's go.
It's your back, it dey keep passing. It dey bring out the best thing. I dey feel your recipe. Make you give me that recipe. Fine, fine. Yeah, you fine. You so divine. I dey feel you die.
What's up, people? We got a new episode of Awesome Entertainment. Checking out this video. I seen it online, but my brother sent it to me, so I ignored it because it was 15 minutes long, but my brother sent it to me, so it's got to be good. So I'm going to just live react. I ain't seen it yet. Thanos
I am
20
Thanos,
Avengers.
and today I am surrounded by 20 Avengers. My first claim is that everything I did was to relieve the universe of the suffering it could not bear. My plan to remove half of all life was not cruelty, it was mercy. Removing half of life was the least harmful choice.
He dusted everybody away, so I could. He didn't brutally
Thanos,
murder him.
I never understood.
Dust.
How can you live 1,000
Thanos.
years, devote all those years to one problem, all of that just to end up with such a stupid, hollow plan?
The plan was proven. It was executed multiple times, and it worked. The entire universe united against it, and not one faction could stop it.
Until we did.
And you had to
You went
risk
back in
the
time.
existence of the multiverse to do that. And what did you do next to solve the problem? Nothing. And my planning is bad.
What we do is never perfect, and we admit that. The problem is that we often don't have a choice, unlike
I didn't have any choice either.
Hold on. The Avengers have admitted to a few small errors, like creating a homicidal robot, dropping a city from space, starting a global civil war, and time traveling to undo their own disasters, and yet people still cheer for them. At this point, their best superpower might be their PR.
You had an abundance of choice. You just wanted to kill. But violence doesn't solve problems.
But he wasn't
killing. You were
killing.
smart enough to find the stones.
He killed them, but he kind of just dusted them out. If Thanos really wanted to kill you, he would do it with his bare hands. If he wanted to take some pleasure in it, he would have beat you up like he did you, Hope. But I'm just saying, he dusted everybody away. It was a merciful, psychopathic move. Historically, violence has solved about 80% of the Hulk's problems and caused 100% of them.
But not smart enough to think of doubling the resources instead of killing half of the people.
Double the resources, the more there is to take, the fiercer the battle to possess it. An excess of resources can be just as dangerous, just as destabilizing as the lack of
That is total bullshit.
I speak from experience. I have witnessed planets die from starvation, yes. But I have also witnessed societies' collapses from having too much, from the greed and endless fighting that abundance
I don't buy
fuels.
that. But even if your goal was to specifically limit the growth of population because you think it's the best plan, there are many other ways to do that, like random sterilization of half of the population, or locking the populations to a maximum number of individuals, in a way that once that point is reached, it becomes impossible to get pregnant until someone dies. I don't really agree with even those, but they are still so much better than genocide
You really think that
of
would
half of
stop
all
them?
life.
You think they wouldn't find a way around it? We live in a universe where magic and technology defy nature every day. Do you honestly believe people wouldn't find a way to...
Wanda was making baby kids out of nothing. Wanda was having kids with a robot. You know what I mean? Her kids were made up straight out the multiverse. We ain't watching that bullshit.
You're really trying to convince us you had no other option when you literally held the power to reshape reality. They are called the Infinity Stones because they offer infinite possibilities. You expect us to believe you were utterly constrained?
Yes. There is probably some super complicated, highly elaborated plan that could have worked, but you used the stones. You know how hard they are to use. The more complicated the plan, the greater the risk of catastrophic error. My plan was the perfect balance, simplicity and
And
efficiency.
slicing existence in half doesn't risk things going wrong. Your plan is everything but efficient. A hell of things can go wrong. The first I can think about is how killing 50% doesn't leave you with 50% alive. People depend on each other. Children need parents. Communities rely on key individuals.
Hulk is one to talk when he just rages out and destroys the whole city and kills everybody at once. At least his plan was thought through, man. This is the last dude who should be talking.
That instantaneous loss of half of life guarantees far more than 50% dying in the ensuing
You think I didn't consider that? That people depend on each other? That losing one life can take 10 more with it? I did, but dependency is exactly why balance had to be forced. I know it causes chaos. I've seen it before. I never got to try it on my own world, but I did see it work elsewhere. Planets that followed my plan rebuilt stronger. Every time the pattern was the same. Pain first, then order.
No pain, no gain.
The ones who survived didn't just rebuild.
No pain, no gain.
They built better.
That is what you always do, isn't it? You break the world, and then you talk long enough to convince yourself it was the only way. You twist every mess into proof that you were right.
You and your friends love to talk about what's wrong. You preach your soft, easy views. Killing is bad, so you can feel clean while the universe rots the same way it always has. You had the stones, and what did you do? You used them to put everything exactly back how it was. You saved no one. You just made sure nothing changed.
Look, no matter how great your imaginary spreadsheet says the results are, genociding half of all existence can never be right.
I wouldn't call what I did a genocide.
You killed half of the entire universe. What are we calling it then?
I didn't kill them. It was a painless erasure. They weren't going to get a better ending.
It's true.
The best case scenario.
There's no way to die easier, I guess, unless you get squashed instantly.
It could never be called a genocide.
Unless you get squashed instantly.
You want to talk about painless? I felt the horror of that snap, buddy. It's still by far the worst experience of my entire life. You can call it whatever you want because you weren't the one erased.
I experienced far worse than that. And everything I did was intended to prevent you and everyone else from experiencing the same.
And who gave you the right to choose for us?
It's not a right, it's a responsibility. I was the only being in the universe with a power great enough to save everybody. And you know it best, Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
I know he didn't do that.
How dare you?
I know he didn't
that
do that.
Mantra can never justify what you did. Great responsibility is the responsibility to preserve the right to choose. It's not the authority to force what you think is right on
What if they clearly lack the ability to know what's right for them?
They still have the right to choose. You don't get to decide what's right, you God-complex maniac.
So, let's say, hypothetically, that the majority of the people of New York decide to start supporting the Green Goblin, for example. Would you let them do that? Or would you do what you think is actually right?
I am certainly not going to go and kill all of them. They will certainly be misled, but I will not try to force them to what I think is right. I will try to understand and see where they are coming from. And then...
Interestingly, a remarkably similar situation once occurred when the world actually did turn against Peter after Mysterio exposed him. He didn't quite understand and guide anyone. Instead, he asked a wizard to erase everyone's memory. And if you remember, he did try to kill the Green Goblin because the Green Goblin he killed his auntie. So he did try to kill the Green Goblin. So let's not act like he ain't above killing
guide them and inspire them to do what's right. That's the true responsibility that comes with power.
It's the biggest sale of the year at Dick's. Score up to 30% off Nike, up to 40% off hoodies and sweatshirts from Adidas.
My second claim is emotions have no place in decisions that shape the universe. The Avengers act from fear, anger, and guilt. I act from reason. I see the wound. I make the cut. Pain is irrelevant if it brings balance. Emotion clouds judgment. Logic brings order.
You can't claim that, Thanos, when you yourself are a terrible emotional mess.
I didn't doom the future of the universe just because I refused to sacrifice beings I love. Beings that are actually insignificant in the grand scheme.
Acting pragmatic doesn't work when you're
sacrificed everything, even myself. I was ready for everything I loved,
he
even
did
my
kill
own self, to be erased in that snap. Because I can see the bigger picture.
Acting pragmatic doesn't work when your emotions are the reason you were blinded enough to proceed with such a crazy plan.
I didn't want to do that. I sacrificed all I wanted to do what's best for the others. I kept my heart in constant pain because I know the mind is the path to virtue.
You are only acting out of trauma. When you saw your planet dying, you suggested genocide and you were laughed out of the door. When it fell apart, you were ashamed and you developed a deep, selfish need for redemption. You were humiliated last time, so you would let nothing stop your plan, not even...
No, Doctor.
He's a
You
doctor.
mistake trauma for clarity. My planet's death didn't wound me. It opened my eyes. I watched
sure about that?
civilization
Are
collapse
you sure
because
about
it
that?
chose comfort over truth, hope over balance. I learned that emotion...
It still doesn't make any sense. He's going to kill everything to keep everybody from killing everything. It still doesn't make any sense. You lost your whole planet, so let's start taking out half the planets. Like,
minds.
It's
That
an
mercy can
incomplete
do
thought after
more
that.
lives than cruelty ever could. I didn't act from grief. I acted from vision. I saw what no one else would see, and I did what no one else would
You
dare.
sound like I once did. Back when I was a surgeon, I believed precision and control could solve everything. Pain, chaos, even death itself. I was so obsessed with logic, I forgot I was human. Losing my hands forced me to learn balance.
Doctor Strange is the best developed character in the MCU today. Because from his first movie to the second movie, he's learned a lot, he's changed a lot, but he's still the same character. He's the best developed character so far. Spider-Man's the worst because he's 9 movies in, he still don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Now I let my heart guide me as much as my mind. I don't ignore emotion anymore. I trust it.
Trust
You
it.
always speak like a man examining a patient, pretending you see everything that others can't. You stand there, dissecting me as if I'm another case on your table, but I am not your patient. I am the cure. The universe is sick, and I'm the only one willing to operate.
Maybe I do have the bad habit of diagnosing. But allow me one last diagnosis. You've got a serious case of main character syndrome.
Dang.
You don't serve the universe. You think the universe serves your story. I used to think like that. I thought I was the center of the world until the universe reminded me I wasn't. The difference between us, Thanos?
All right. I cannot take this Doctor Strange disrespect. It says Doctor Strange claims to have overcome his main character syndrome, a statement well supported by evidence. In Multiverse of Madness, he was, in fact, not even the main character in his own movie. Will y'all fucking stop, bro? Will y'all stop? Y'all stop hating on Wanda. First, that was the best appearance of Wanda. That was the finest she ever looked. Y'all over here tripping, okay? The villain needs to have some screen time, man. You know what I mean? Their storyline counts. He was the hero of the story, so you know he was the main character. You knew he was going to solve it. You knew nobody else was going to figure it out except Doctor Strange. Stop disrespecting the greatest movie of all time, Multiverse of Madness, man. Y'all make
Is that I learned to step out of
I'm
this.
going to downvote this shit.
You still believe you're the only one who can write the ending.
Thanos, my problem with you isn't just what you did, it's your entire world view. You look at people and see problems to solve. I look at them and see lives worth trusting, worth believing in.
Trust them to do what exactly? Destroy themselves? Because that's what they
I know y'all didn't
do
open up
every
Captain
time I
America
watched
with
it
that weak-ass
happen on
statement.
world after world.
Then you help them do better. You don't just erase half of them and call it mercy. People have a right to choose their own path, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy. That's what freedom
Messy
means.
is a mild way to describe the end of worlds. Tell me, are you saying I should respect the will of the people, even when I know they're leading themselves to ruin? You'd really do
They
that?
were not wrong. You were. But to answer that question, yes, you should respect their will, even if they're wrong. And you should work to guide them back to
Then
the
let's
right
test
way.
your conviction. Hypothetically, half the universe votes for my plan. A referendum, a democratic mandate. They agree. Erase half of all life to save the whole. The people have spoken. Would you still fight me? Or would you respect the will of the people?
That's not a fair question.
That is a fair question.
We'll never do that.
It's just a hypothetical.
That's a
You say
fair
the
question.
people's will is sacred. So tell me, if they chose me, would you stand aside?
No, I'd fight you, because there are some lines you don't cross.
There it is. So the will of the people shouldn't always be respected. You'd override them, impose your moral vision over theirs.
That's not what
It's exactly what you're saying. You believe in democracy.
This whole courtroom's out of order.
If they choose something you find unacceptable, then suddenly you know better. We're not so different, Steve. We both fight for a vision. We both believe we're right. The only difference is I don't pretend otherwise.
No, the difference is I'd spend every moment before that vote trying to show them another way. I'd argue. I'd persuade. I'd offer alternatives. I would...
The fact of the matter is, Cap wouldn't rock with that shit. And if you know about the comics and the way the Illuminati was working, they had to wipe his memory and kick him out the Illuminati because he wasn't down with the plan. And everybody voted yes, and he voted no. He's like, man, this dude don't care about votes. Which is kind of crazy because he's Captain America. He don't care about votes. He gonna pick what's the right way. Same thing with Iron Man's parents. You know what I mean? You didn't ask nobody. Didn't get no help.
Give up on them. You never even gave them the chance.
And if they still voted yes after all your speeches, what then?
I'd have to live with knowing I failed to reach them, but I wouldn't become you. I wouldn't decide their lives are disposable just because I think they are wrong.
All that strength, living with failure while everything falls apart, that's not virtue. That's surrender wrapped in
hope.
hope.
The world isn't perfect, Thanos. It never will be. But that's not a flaw. That's what makes it worth fighting for. People stumble. They fail. They rebuild. That's how they grow.
So you've made peace with failure. Tell me, Steve, if perfection were possible, would you accept it?
If you mean a world without suffering, without hate, then yes, of course I would. But that world
Then why did you reject it when I offered it?
Offered it? Killing half the universe isn't perfection. It's erasure.
I'm not talking about that.
Then what are you talking about?
Alex.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I only pay for what I need. What a great day.
Explain it in my next claim. My final claim is that the Avengers...
My thing is, Steve can't say he's okay with failure because he took the Infinity Stone and ran back in time to Peggy. So, nah, bro, you wasn't cool with it. You was down to change the timeline. That would mess the whole multiverse up.
Saviors. When I abandoned my first plan and offered to build something better, a universe without hunger, without pain, they refused. Not because it was evil, but because it wasn't theirs.
What was your new plan again?
It was
You
different.
made me realize that this universe is broken beyond repair. So I offered to create a new one. Balanced, abundant, free of suffering.
Right. So you went from kill half to kill everyone. Big improvement. Real character
Your
growth.
perspective is too small. I'm not killing. I'm erasing everything and starting over. No one will feel anything. They'll simply wake up in a perfect universe.
We stopped you because you're not the god of this universe who gets to restart it whenever you don't like how things are going.
You did exactly that when I did things you didn't like. You played God with space and time to change the universe back into a way that suited you.
We fixed what you broke. We're not changing the universe to fit us. We're bringing it back to the way it was.
Which is what fits you.
Which fits everybody. Everyone agreed with our plan. Everyone supported
I don't think they will when their worlds...
According to a recent unofficial poll, the Avengers plan against Thanos ranks second in effectiveness with 97.3 approval, narrowly losing to Ant-Man and his Thanos' posterior, which recorded an unprecedented 99.8%. Yeah, Ant-Man should have handled that, bro. We already know this. You didn't gotta climb into his butt. You can climb into his ear or his nose. But you should have blew
Tell
that
me,
up.
Tony, you said you don't trust me with restarting the universe, but you had the stones. Why didn't you?
Crazy psychopath who thinks he's a god.
But you were in that moment, whether you admit it or not. You had the power to fix everything. End disease, hunger, war, and you chose not to.
My job was to fix what you broke. To bring everybody back.
And bring their misery back with them when you could have stopped it. You had omnipotence in your hands and you chose this, a world still full of suffering.
Because it's their suffering to overcome, not mine to erase. You think wiping the slate clean makes you a savior?
It makes you a coward who couldn't handle the universe as it
I'm
actually...
the only one who saw it clearly. You brought back 5 billion people to a planet that was already collapsing under its own weight. Within a generation,
We'll figure it out. That's
they
what
figured
people
it out
do.
before. Your sentimentality blinds
Your
you to
arrogance
basic
is exactly
mathematics,
why no one should trust
population
you with
growth,
anything.
resource depletion, climate.
You see people as numbers on
You
a...
see them as children who need protecting. At least I'm honest about making hard choices instead
Hard
of pretending
choices.
everyone can just
Snapping your fingers is easy. Actually solving problems. Actually believing people
believing
can.
accomplishes nothing when the ship is sinking. Action.
Murder is an action.
You can't really say he just snapped his fingers. He traveled all across the universe to collect the Infinity Stones, even beat up Hulk and Thor and stuff to do it. So he didn't really just snap his fingers. It wasn't easy. There was nothing about it. He killed his own kidnapped stepdaughter. You know what I mean? So he killed his own hostage stepdaughter. So it wasn't easy.
Mission
It's
isn't
surrender.
salvation. It's delusion.
Says the guy who wanted to kill literally everyone.
To save everyone, which is more
You
than
can't
you.
save people by erasing
You
them.
can't save them by doing nothing.
That was cool. That was cool. You know, I guess, I don't know if they were trying to convince me that Thanos was right or not, but nah, I'm still rocking with the Avengers. But that was cool. Good job to whoever did that. All right, hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. I'm out.
Don't play with my patience, man, they gone with the flow when they tryna fake it. That's not the way I roll, that's not the combination. You start off with the dough before you start the conversation. No one start the salutations, man, don't play with me. I'm coming from a place they would hate to be. I'm going through a phase you would hate to see. They say this life's a trip, ain't no telling where it's taking me. When you on the edge and you make your next move, better be your best. Before you throw it to the depths, better reinvest. Man, I count every moment and count every step, so I know I'm blessed. Now it's